Transcendence Energy Healing. I'm at home in my house here, and it is a mess. And I was just thinking, you know what? I'm going to start doing live videos, and I want to talk about God, talk about life, talk about anything kind of epiphany-wise. My house is kind of a disaster right now. You're going to see me. I'm going to wash dishes. Might be a little loud. Might not be. But I like those videos where people mow the grass for people, and they do these like really nice, I don't know, I forget, I can't think of what the word is. They're just, they do these really nice things for people, and they help them out. And so basically, I know I'm like gonna just clean my own house. My cat is going crazy. But I just kind of want to start making videos, and I kind of feel like I have to put myself out there a little bit. So I'm going to. So my kitchen is a mess. Those are clean. Those are not. And so I thought, yeah, why not? I will do it. So yes, I know, it's very amazing. But I like funny little signs in my house. And my son drew that picture, which I think is amazing too. But yeah, I just want to start doing some work. So I'm going to do that. And as I'm doing the work, I thought we could talk about some things that I've got recently. So if you're new to this channel, I have been pretty much awake my entire life. So when I was a little kid, I used to see things, I used to hear things, and, I just kind of kept it to myself. I told some people, and then they were kind of thinking I was crazy, and, that's a typical thing, right? And then when I got older, I started to not care, and I just started telling people. So I do this journey with God and with my family. And I have 2 kids and my husband, and our 3 kitty cats. And so that's just sort of a little tiny story, but yeah, first video, and I don't know why I'm so nervous. So I don't know if this is going to pick up on the sound, and I kind of am nervous about that. So maybe washing dishes isn't the smartest thing. So why don't we look at some stuff about numbers? So I've been getting a lot of numbers lately, and so I bought this book online on Amazon, and it's called Numbers That Preach, and it's by Troy Brewer. So I thought it was kind of interesting, and it talks about the different numbers that we get. So a lot of people call them angel numbers or just regular numbers, but I don't think anybody could say it's a coincidence that a lot of the numbers that you get during the day, you'll look up the clock and it'll be 111 or 1111 or 222 or 333 or 444, and the only time you look at the clock, it's always a 3-digit number. So obviously that's not a coincidence. So this book kind of talks about the power of numbers. And you might have this need when you get up, and it's so God kind of just tells me, he's like, look at the time. So I'll look at the time, and it'll be some weird number. When I get those, I'm like, okay, I'll look up the number. So anyway, I thought, I should get my my own book here. I usually just look it up on Google, but I also wanted to see what other people thought. And I actually really like this book. It's very interesting. So I've been seeing numbers consistently, triple-digit numbers consistently for about, in my awareness. So I would say for about 4 years now. And before that, I would always see my birthday, and my birthday is 10/27, and I would see 10/27 all the time. And I would see it just before it turns 10/28. So it'd be 10/27, 10/27, 10/27, and then all of a sudden 10/28. Or I would look at 10/27 and turn right to 10/28. And so I figured those 2 numbers meant something, and I wasn't sure what. If you just let me know, hey, you're born or whatever, that's fine. But I just always thought it was kind of weird. So one day I was like, oh, you know what? I'm going to look that up. Does anybody else see this number? And it was really funny because this is before I even knew anything or anybody else was kind of talking about it. And in my awareness that they were talking about it. And then all of a sudden, like, I see this website and these people talking about these angel numbers. And I thought, well, that's really bizarre. You know, I didn't think anything else of it. I looked it up. I thought, oh, yeah, that's kind of what it similar to my situation, right? Excuse me. And so I thought it was kind of bizarre. And like when I did that, and then, you know, something else would happen, and I would see a number, and I was like, you know, I'll look up the number, and so then, you know, I say it again. So these numbers, they pop up all the time. So I know I kind of got off topic maybe a little bit, but do you see numbers? So a lot of people when they first start waking up, and when I talk about waking up, if you don't know what that means, it's like your consciousness starts to be aware of things around you, and your awareness is something that's like something that you weren't aware of before, and the way things are in your life, or the way things are in the world, or the way things really are. And so, oh, I was doing quotes and you couldn't even see them. So what's bizarre to me is to be in this awakening period. Sorry, I keep getting these messages. To be in this awakening period and people to not see things that we see. And, you know, you'd think you'd be used to it after, you know, 40 years of, I'm 44 years old, going 45. And you would think after at least 40 years of being, you know, aware of some weird stuff, that I would be used to the fact that other people don't see things the way I do. But that's not true. It's every day. I'm thinking, holy cow, how do you not see that? There'd be something right in front of somebody and they don't get it. And I just can't believe it. It's just, to me, it doesn't make any sense. But, you know, I know that it doesn't make sense to them either. So, numbers. So if you start to see triple digit numbers, sorry, I have an itchy nose. If you start to see triple digit numbers or a certain number all the time, or, you know, maybe even had that feeling or heard that voice or felt that call to look at the clock and it was a certain time and you're like, I don't even know why I wanted to look at the clock. It's not a big deal. Maybe that's something telling you to look at the clock. And you should, you know, check it out. And maybe that number means something. But anyway, Troy A. Brewer, Numbers That Preach. So I thought it was really interesting because I got this book off Amazon. It wasn't that expensive. And I see a lot of numbers all the time. And it's actually funny because I always see 111. And I just turned and it says, of the hundreds of examples that could be given, Jesus, 111 times 8. Christ, 111 times 12. And I find it funny. So I'm looking at these 111s and I went right to it. But anyway, scriptures, 888. God is real, 888. So if you know anything about Hebrew, you'll know that in Hebrew, their words, their letters have a numerical value. So like the first letter of the alphabet, I think it's Aleph. Probably, I might be wrong on it, but I think it is. But anyway, it's the first letter of the alphabet actually has like a number connotation with it. So it'll be like there's a value. So like number 1 or whatever. And I know a lot of people think, okay, that's kind of like what they do in numerology, right? Probably, you know. But this particular thing, well, not probably, they do. But in the Hebrew, they have the number that means the letter. And the letter is sort of like, it also means like a word. And it's like a picture. I mean, it's crazy the amount of amazing stuff that comes from Hebrew. So really should check it out. But the whole beginning of the Old Testament goes through, and what it is it's like a story. So the Hebrew reads right to left, okay, like most of the languages do actually kind of read right to left. If you know anything about the different foreign languages, which you'll have like the verb and the noun, like you'll have them all the way on the other side of the sentence. So you kind of know what's already going to happen at the beginning. So I think that's interesting too, because in the Bible, it talks about, prophetic things, right? And so we already know, like in the first sentence of the Bible, it tells you exactly what's going to happen. It's actually pretty crazy. So if you check out the Hebrew first sentence of the Bible in Hebrew, and check it out, like it's the part of the Torah, right, in Genesis, and it tells the story about Jesus already, the very first sentence. But in the English translation, it's just like, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, right? But this whole thing, there's a picture for each letter, and each letter is a word, right? And each word has a symbol, like a meaning behind it. Not just like our English words, but it's actually really incredible. And like there's a cross, and it talks about wood, and there's the nail, and there's like salvation and rising, and this is all in the first sentence of the Bible. But anyway, that's about the numbers. And anyway, I think this book is pretty cool, Numbers That Preach, and it's interesting because you can look up the different meanings of the numbers, like all throughout stuff. So it doesn't even necessarily have to be like biblical, but it could also be like stuff about like the Buddhist numbers, the Hindu meanings of things, and they all fit together. And if you are a person that studies any type of religion, or if you're spiritual, you'll know that there's many beautiful things about each religion, okay? And I feel like everybody has a piece of the puzzle, right? And everybody's fighting over who has the biggest piece of the puzzle. But guess what? We're all part of God. And the beautiful part about that is that if we just come together and do what was supposed to happen anyway, just like love one another, all that other stuff, that meaningless crap, just kind of falls to the side, right? Because we're supposed to love our neighbor as ourselves. Love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, thy soul, and thy mind. And then those things, everything else falls apart, right? Because it's all about loving. And God's all about love. Why are we sitting here fighting over technicalities, which is quite stupid? But anyway, this is a really cool book, and it talks about the mathematics behind God, and it also explains so in the Bible, so actually there's a book in the Torah, which is it's numbers, and it's literally very mathematical. And a lot of people don't realize it. But when you read it, there's a rhythm to it. And when you look at the Hebrew, it is something else. I mean, it's actually really freaking cool. So it makes me really excited just to talk about it. So I'm really giddy about it. Man, I wish I could actually hear some people, when I'm talking, but hey. But I got some other books too, and I have another book that I asked for Mother's Day, which is actually funny, because I was telling my husband, I said, hey, if you want to get me something for Mother's Day, you can get me this book. And he's like, well, put it in the Amazon cart. So I was like, all right, cool. Because, people are always trying to figure out what you want. And I don't really need anything. There's nothing I need, but I was going to buy the book anyway. And so he bought me the Strong's Concordance book. And it's ginormous. It's like, I was going to say, I think I have it in the living room, but I think it's in my bedroom. It's like this thick, and it is so big, and I have absolutely no idea how to use it. I think I have the gist behind it, but I am trying to figure out, like I see this side here with the numbers, and this other side with the scripture, and I still have absolutely no idea how it all kind of fits together. So it would be great to kind of figure that one out. But Yeah, so that's another book I have. So if you know how to use that strong concordance, oh my gosh, please just let me know. I'm going to have to watch a YouTube video on it later to figure it out because it is very, very thick. And I thought it would help me because when I look up something, I know obviously the English translation is off. It's like whenever you try to, I don't know if any of you have ever taken a foreign language, but so I took French and Spanish, and I took them both at the same time. And so the Romance languages, they're all, pretty close. I mean, if I can figure out a word, like if I know, I'm better at French than anything. If I know the word in French, then I can usually figure out the Spanish. And then if I see an Italian word, I know what it is already because it's really close to Spanish and French. And so they're close. Well, our translations, you might as well forget it. They're not even close. So I know that it's off, right? So when I read, like say I read the New Testament, or I read other thing, oh hi, oh wow, hi. Oh, the book is called Numbers That Preach. Aw, hi Sissy. Numbers That Preach.
Hi.
And it's Troy A. Brewer. It's actually like super good. And it comes in it talks like every number. Like I wish I could, I'm probably not gonna be able to see this, Ruby, but every single number has a whole area and it explains things on why the person said the number means what it means. And it's super interesting, like the number 8. And I turned to 8 again, which is not a coincidence, which says 8 is enough. And I'll just read this page because it's really cool. It says, on the 8th day of the 8th month in the year 1988, I was listening to the radio while I was on my way to work. The announcer reported the high temperature of New York City at an uncanny 88 degrees. I don't live in New York, but the reason it was reported in Texas was because of all the 8s involved. Because I know what God likes to preach through the number 8. I believe there was a new beginning about to take place in the Big Apple. At that time, a young go-getter and third-ranked man on the Department of Justice by the name of Rudy Giuliani was getting ready to run for mayor. He would later change Times Square from a sewer of porn and crime back to a tourist attraction. Speaking of Times Square and new beginnings, there's a line from a great movie, Forrest Gump, that caught my attention the first time I saw it. The scene is where Forrest is in Times Square, and they're all watching the ball drop on New Year's Eve. As the last few seconds of the year are leaving, a young woman says in a Brooklyn accent, I love New Year's. Everyone gets a second chance. Nobody loves new beginnings more than your maker. He is a God of the second chance, and the third and the 490th chance. 70 times 7, Matthew 18:22. While a Western mind tends to think in terms of dispensations or quick, abrupt leaps from one thing to another, a Middle Eastern mind thinks in terms of gradual chance through cycles and seasons. God does both. He loves to do things in cycles while consistently advancing and progressing his people into all things brand new. So anyway, it goes through all the reasons behind these numbers. And I don't know, it's just really cool. It talks about why he thinks 8's important and why he thinks 8 is God's number. And it goes through examples like in Scripture. It goes through different chapters through the Bible that add up to 8 or are like derivative of 8. And it's actually just super interesting. It goes through everything. It even talks about, the names of God. It talks about all kinds of stuff. So it's a very interesting book. It's definitely worth it. I mean, I don't even know. I might have paid like $11 for it. It's not even that much, but I know you can get on Kindle if you wanted. But I like the paperback because I tend to read the paperbacks better than if I were to I have a more chance of picking this up than I do of picking up my Kindle and remembering that I actually had it on there. So that's kind of nice. Plus, if the world goes to crap, then I have a paper copy. Not that I'll be sitting there reading a book on numbers, but hey, you never know. Might need help. So I'm going to let you guys go. Thanks for coming. Ruby, thanks for commenting. I really appreciate it. I'm nervous about doing this, I'm just going to start doing it because I need to get more exposure. I need to talk about this stuff. I need to figure out what I'm doing. So God bless everyone, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.